Yeah, I was listening. There was some ad on one of my podcasts the other day there's apparently some sort of app that you can opt into right now on your phone that follows your driving and then like rates your driving, so
Oh
that like
no.
an insurance company will decide your rate based on your.
Oh no.
Yeah, I can't remember what the name of the app is. It was like
Wow.
Drive Wizard or something like that. But it's like certain, like the ad was from a insurance company saying like, if you get this app and you can prove that you're a good driver, like we'll get you a better rate. But I'm going like, no, that means they're gonna like start
Yeah,
monitoring everything and then give you like horrible rates.
right. Exactly. It's all good now until they decide, oh, okay, well, you went a little too
Yeah,
fast
you're.
here or there or whatever. Right. Yeah, they know too much information already. Yeah, that's crazy. And people might say that's a great idea. Let's do it. Yeah, I'll get cheaper rates this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, like the one thing, if you learn anything from like 1984 and any of those, any book, it's just like we cannot be completely policed. Like, you have to be innocent until proven guilty, not, like you're not guilty until proven innocent. Like which is
Right.
how all these other kind of monitoring type situations seem to like really work out.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There's so many thoughts about being tracked, about some people want to be tracked, or they have their pets tracked, or they put a chip in them, and I could see why they want to do it. Or if they live in a place they worry about their security, and so you want to be tracked, but at the same time, does every single thing need to be monitored? My understanding recently was that with your, the little headphones that come with iPhones, that those
Oh,
are, yeah,
yes.
yeah, right. Everyone has them. I have it also, but they're able to read the frequencies in your ears, right? So that it can tell like different, I don't know, like your nervous system. It could register information. It does register information and goes back to I guess Apple and records that information. I don't know exactly why, to know what your heart rate is. It was recording your body part, like
Just
how your
I guess their phone or their watches do that, right? Like,
I yeah, yeah, right.
but at least you
Um,
opt into that instead of this being like.
right, exactly. Right. Well, maybe it's related, but anyway, I just was like, okay, I think that's a little too much. I don't think everybody needs to know when I have to pay.
Yeah, no, I think it gets invasive at some point. I mean, it's like I was saying, like I think all of our I have a couple of incidences where I think our stuff is monitored all the time. Like, okay, I have a friend who, her husband's from a place called Splits, Croatia. Like I was visiting them at their house, and my phone was in my purse. I wasn't on my phone. I was like, like trying to be present and like whatever. And we were just in a living room, and I said, like, wait, so where are you from in Croatia? Like, I don't know any city in Croatia. And he was just like, oh, it's from Splits. And I was like a person who does the splits, like, like what? Like, and he was like, yeah, like basically, or with a Z. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Then that night when I got home, it was just like my Google ads words, and it was like Airbnbs for Splits, Croatia. And then like
Oh yeah.
everything I saw Splits, and I'm kind of like, I didn't ever search that on Google. I didn't do anything.
Yes.
That was audit. Like, there's no way it was that coincidental. And it's stuff like that all the time.
I've Googled that. Because that has exact same thing has happened to me. And it turns out it happens to a lot of people. That's why it's coming up on Google. Yeah. No, it's like Siri is constantly on, or whoever you have, but I turned Siri off, right? Like, but I don't believe
Right.
that she's actually
I,
off.
I have as well. I've gone and turned everything off, but then it's like something just happened to me yesterday with it. It was oh like some flight attendant I was flying with was talking about how there's this new murder case in the Northeast called the smiley face killers, or, you know, it's like some new, like, I don't follow mainstream news, but apparently there's a new like kind of serial killer or something. And, and then I don't know, I opened Reddit, and that was like the first article was about like there's some Texas, it's like boys, they're taking like college boys or something. There's like 3 gone missing from Austin, and they think it's related to the smiley face killer. And then I opened something else in it, and I was like, what? I'd never heard of that ever in the history of my life. And then all of a sudden it's like, and some of that stuff could be coincidence, but also I think it's just they listen to everything you say. I
think so too. Yeah. And I think it's pretty clear that like they're able to pick up clarity enough because it does come up, you know? So for example, like your friend who was, that you were talking to and your phone was in your purse, that means that it was muffled in your purse, but it came up enough that it was able to be monitored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's there. That's again what makes me think, well, so there's all this stuff happening. I mean, we're sitting here like exposing ourselves to, you know, YouTube, having video on microphone and all that. But at the same time, it's like, well, I mean, there's only so much we could do, so I'm not like terribly worried about it. And then my other thought was, well, then let's use this technology to help us, which is, again, for me, being able to be like, well, I'm not going to get worried about that. I'm not going to live in fear.
Right.
And I'm just going to put my love out there and other people's good love back. I'm going to pick up the good vibes, talking about frequencies, you know, and just use it like to our advantage. We don't have to be powerless in all this. We could actually use the same type of technology for our cause. There was a study done, it's called the Intention Experiment. And this was a book. This is great about all this, like people coming together in large groups that are doing the same type of meditations or prayers in certain areas. And then they've shown that that the violence in those areas have decreased. Well, there was a really, one of the like first studies about it was to show if large amounts of people could change the amount of numbers that would come up on a screen, on a computer screen, and they changed it. It was random. And right, but then when they all were like concentrating on 0, it was between 0 and 1. And whenever they concentrated on 0 and they put their intention there, that's what came up more. And as soon as they switched over to 1, it would go back to 1. So it's like wherever you put your intention is where it's going to grow. So that's what I'm always like.
That's like the Schroeder's cat thing too, like which is also a little bit of like the holographic theory, is that like you know like we're all creating this reality, so it really is a matter of like what like the laws of attraction, people, like, you know, whenever you go down that rabbit hole, it's like they say, like if you can like your subconscious is programmed with all these like limiting beliefs about everything all the time, and if you like reprogram your subconscious to like, first of all, just like not think like hateful thoughts about yourself, which you know, which I think a lot of people tend to do. Yeah. Like I don't know, it's like one of those things where you can change the outcome of a lot of things by just recentering and being like, yeah, no, I'm not buying any of this. I'm not buying like this. No, this is what's like, not even what I want, what I hope. No, like this is what's going to be, this is what's going to happen. And you just like go with it and be confident about it and like decide to believe that. And like things like that's luck, man. That's like, it's kind of like the science behind actual luck that's not real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The whole, what were you
just gonna say? I haven't mastered that yet, but I will.
Yeah. Right. No, but the thing is, you have you maybe not mastered it, but it's like you're definitely on your way for doing that, because or to I think it's just happening. It's again like the whole 100 monkey thing, that people are getting better at manifesting or making things happen at some instant level or some instant time, I guess. And so as more people do it, we're doing it too, and we're able to do it. You've had things happen that you're like, oh wow, that's cool, that happened pretty quickly. All right, like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it just happened. You just told me about how you went to the meeting about recycling.
That's true. Like I was totally like, even did a YouTube about like the like, or we had like Lucille on here, talked about like the zero waste, and then we had like and then I went into like all this stuff about plastic, and I was really wanting to like help solve the problem of plastic. Like that's been like a passion of mine. And then I just went and like met with like some a bunch of the government officials in New Mexico, and like, because I have a friend who has this and other connection who's got this place in Oaxaca that is changing plastic into fuel. And so I got to go be a fly on the wall and like an official government meeting, and going like, hey, this is exactly where I need to be placed. It was just like super awesome, but it was all just because like that's where my focus was, and the universe was like, oh, okay, well, go
here it is
with your old friend and he'll take you.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, you didn't even plan that meeting, it just happened. And that's serendipitous, but it's like, oh, okay, well, how much is this? The universe is like, listening, as they say. Oh, the universe is listening. Okay, well, things are happening. Yeah, it's all exciting stuff.
Yes, indeed it is. And yeah, I don't know. I used to think that the law of attraction stuff was just like what? But now I'm like I'm totally like into it. Like,
yeah,
I think it's a thing. But I mean but it all goes back to like the vibrations of things. Like I think like
exactly.
When they say you have to raise your vibrations, like what does that mean? What does that mean? That like that literally means that like your thoughts are power too. Like your thoughts even have like some sort of like matter is energy. Okay, like E equals MC squared. Like like energy equals like matter, energy are the same thing. Energy can be like related into sound. Like all of this stuff is related. It's all like just different aspects of the same thing that we're labeling different. But
yes,
there's a way to make everything go more in your favor.
Yeah, I think so too. It was like Edgar Cayce, who was the dreaming prophet, said, and he was able to channel all this information and give readings on people's health and future events. And he did tons of reading, but one of his big things were the thoughts are the building blocks of reality. So, or of our reality. So what does that really mean? Well, anything that you think is still a vibration. So even if it's in your thought, whether or not it comes out and happens depends on some other vibrations, really. So you have a thought, and then maybe it's something that you just let go. But if it's a thought that keeps recurring, well, maybe it's a negative thought that just keeps recurring, or maybe it's a type of thought that's like, oh, well, it's catching hold. This thought is catching hold, and then it actually starts to come out and come into the 3D world, and you can actually build it when people have an idea, and then it becomes actually like a product or whatever it is. It's like, yeah, that was the building block. Again, it starts with your vibration and your thoughts. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. That is cool. And like I do think and we're gonna build awesome stuff. It's gonna be really great. It's really cool. But I also had this weird experience the other day where I was, and I'm not talking about the one where my third eye opened. That was different. This was, I'm talking about like I was an art historian. Like that's what I did. Like my undergrad was in art. Like my master's, like that, I was totally in art. I mean, like just studied a bunch of old like European pictures and whatnot, and all this Gothic art and all this stuff. Anyway, I was always like, my whole life, I've always just kind of been like, why do we just like, I couldn't really vocalize this because I would get shamed too much. But like, I was always kind of wondering, I think dinosaurs and dragons are the same thing. I think like people were painting I think dinosaurs might have been alive a little longer than I kind of think like a lot of the myth behind dinosaur, they're just too similar of a thing, you know,
Hmm.
like and then people be like, yeah, but dinosaurs don't have wings. And I'm like, some do actually. And like, I don't know, maybe like wings aren't don't stand up as good as the femur bones. I don't really know. Like, like there's
Yeah.
not, I mean, anyway, I had all this stuff and it's weird. Like but I never really would talk about that. It's just sort of like something I was always like, I'm not really necessarily buying the
Yeah.
entire dinosaur story. I like buy dinosaurs, love dinosaurs. I even got a dinosaur bone last week. I bought one.
Ooh.
It was amazing. Yeah. Um, totally love them. But I'm just saying that like, I think I don't know. I actually think there might have been some remnants of dinosaur and man that coexisted together at some point in some way.
Mhm.
And I think that may have been where the legend of the dragon comes from. And it's worldwide, you know.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Anyway,
interesting.
and then yesterday I'm like on YouTube and like, well, what was the name of this chick? Anyway, yeah, like this other like chick is basically saying this in a video. Like she's like totally got, and I was like, oh, like it's amazing how we have thoughts that are similar though. Like then I wonder if any thoughts are even original.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I've had that thought too. I'm like, are thoughts even original? Like, who knows? Yeah. Well, it could just be that if you have an original thought, I mean, once the thought is out there, maybe somebody else who is open to that same thought catches the thought and has it as their own. So maybe thoughts are just floating around also as matter.
Her website's like megaliths.org and it's like New Earth videos is like her YouTube channel or whatever. But yeah, like she like she talks about when she talks about the dinosaur stuff, I'm going like, oh yeah. But yeah, exactly what you're saying, where you're kind of going like, yeah, like you wonder if it's not just like the universe throws out like thousands of thoughts to a bunch of different people, and whoever decides to take it and run with it is, you know,
Right.
bravo to them. The rest of us can just kind of like sit there
Yeah.
and read on it.
Yeah. Well, then you think of people that have had like historically just like advanced ideas, like, I don't know, people that were way before their time.
Right, or
Um,
even like how the telephone was apparently invented by like 5 people at the same time and only one gets
right.
credit for it, or you know, something like that. Or lots of people were trying to invent the airplane at the same time.
Right. Or like Leonardo da Vinci that had all those sketches anyway. Like, where did all
Mhm.
those thoughts come from? Really? I mean, yeah, he could have sat down and thought of, this flying machine, but was it just that? Or was he able to download or go into like a different frequency and channel other information from another time?
Well, I actually wrote an entire script about Leonardo da Vinci being a time traveler.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So a script like you're gonna like a one person show,
No,
like
it's like a movie script. It's like I don't know. It's like, you know, whatever. It's a very long thing. It got so long to then I started writing a book about it, but then I never finished it. But yeah, I had like the whole entire outline of it. But this also because I was like an art historian and like I was super like obsessed with like him and his timeline, and like there was a lot of different ways in which like he had like tanks and helicopters and like a lot of stuff. So I had this whole
yeah.
story of like this woman in the future that has like she goes back into like she can time travel in the future and she takes him back there and he I basically make the argument that he he accidentally got put in the past and like what got stuck there when he was like 10 years old, so he has the knowledge of what a 10-year-old would have, and that's how he lived his life on like
Hmm.
a 10-year
That
old who
sounds
lived in like 19
fun.
yeah, it was cool.
You got plenty of like things to put into reality. Like
Right,
you're,
exactly. But then I feel like
yeah,
now they've done a ton of like they've had like Da Vinci TV shows, or like, you know, they had like some sort of, there was an actual, it was called Da Vinci or something like that recently. There was like some,
yeah, but you put it out there. You see, I mean, who knows? But
right.
anyway,
Yeah, somebody, yeah, like I got the ideas and somebody ran with it.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
And our other people got the ideas too as well.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, who knows how it works? It's so complicated, but I don't know. I find my days just like thinking about this type of stuff, like the universe and frequencies and how like vibrations and them going out into the world and how we create our reality and how my reality is different from the person next to me's reality, even if we live very similar, seemingly very similar realities. It's just that blows my mind too. There's just so much to think about. And what you're saying about with the dinosaurs and the dragons, like that sounds to me pretty cool. And also there's so many legends from so many different places about dragons. You just said that, but like, yeah, I mean, what about the dragons?
When I was in high school, I'm like swimming in a creek bed in Glen Rose, Texas, and there's dinosaur tracks and human tracks found all over there together in the same limestone. And you can look it up online. Like, I'm not making that up. Like, that's a thing a lot of people talk about. Like, it's in Glen Rose. And you look up dinosaur and human footprints together, and in Glen Rose, Texas, and they still have them. You can still go see it. It's like a little national park.
That's so cool.
I was in high school. I wasn't even like trying to look into that kind of stuff. I was just there to, chill on a picnic or something with my family. And then, yeah, like there's so much stuff we don't know, like how it really worked out. And that's the thing about, the only thing you really know is that you exist right now. But other than that, it's just kind of like, I feel like we just go off of what we're told, and we're told and we're told and we're told and we're told.
Exactly.
And it's really been nice, because the older I'm getting, the more I'm just like letting go of anything anybody's told me and not feeling shame for it.
Yeah, and just being like, well, all right, that's your idea. Maybe that's possible, but there's other possibilities also. Yeah,
like I don't think I have to die as young as like we're supposed to die, like in our 80s. Like, nah, I don't buy it. I don't want to die then. I'm going to be older. I'm going to be like, I'm going to be in my hundreds. There you go.
Yeah. Well, we're going in that direction too. That could happen. Like, why not? Apparently people in the past lived for like hundreds of years. So why can't we do it?
I don't know if their atmosphere was different, if they measured time differently. I don't know what it is, but like, well, and it's not just like, oh, I'm just going to like meditate myself into being super like 3 or thousands of years old. No, but I mean, like, I think I'm going to be on the wave of it. I'll take the stem cell therapy treatments, or the whatever it is that when they figure out how to like make your telomeres stop aging, and you have to take this pill or do this vibration or do this or that, or use my magnet like machine, and I don't know, whatever. I decided like I don't want to be dead at 80.
That's funny, because like I decided that I don't want to come back. Like I used to think, all right, well, I used to think that you had no control over reincarnation, kind of, because like you would just, if you die and then based on whatever experiences you had in this life, like, and your karma, like you come back, and I still believe that to a certain extent. But then this time I was thinking, maybe you can have a decision. Like maybe I'm going to make my case as to why I think that maybe I shouldn't be reincarnated on this planet next time. Like,
I've 100% already decided, like done, check, saw it. I want to move on to next time. I want to experience something a little higher than this. Like, well,
that's what I was thinking. But then according to some of the information I've read recently, it's like, we don't really have a choice. You can't just be like, I'm done here. That's it. I'm done with planet Earth. I think I'm going to move on. Like, you can't really do that, because we still have a lot of karmic debt, kind of, and karma, and you can't just get out of it. Like, there's like, your soul is just going to have to keep coming back until you sort through it and work on it.
Yeah, but people get rid of karmic debt all the time. And like, you can, like, I feel like you can, I feel like you like, if you want to believe, I feel like you get what you believe. And like,
that's what I was thinking.
I don't want to believe in the karmic debt thing. Like, it sounds like the Federal Reserve. Like some invisible asshole that I don't understand like how it's working or what's going on with it.
Nobody understands, and they pretend like they do. Yeah. Well, that's why I was thinking, you know what? I think my case is going to claim to be maybe I should just see what else is out there. Maybe I should start like seeing other people. You know what I mean? Like maybe I should start going to
I'm
other
just gonna be
planets.
like, yeah, look, it was real. But
Yeah, exactly.
beam me up, Scotty. I want to go with some.
I mean, kind of, and I love planet Earth. That's the thing.
Me
I
too.
just and I
I feel like I've been here a while.
that's what I'm thinking. And I kind of want to get back to my galactic family a bit and just see what's going on and being like, well, what other mission can I be of most service to? Like, what can I do? If I'm not really done here on Earth, well, maybe I'll come back here again. Maybe like, maybe I can serve humanity in some other big way. But otherwise, maybe how else can I serve? What else can I do? What other missions are there? Are there other missions? Are we all on a mission?
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe it's different when you're back with the source of everything and time isn't real and it's not linear like it is now. I mean, this could have seemed like a flash in the pan. So you would be like, yeah, give it to me again. Let's start it.
Right. Well, that's true. That's what I've heard happens in some extent. Like the third dimension where we live now is so heavy and it's such lower frequency in a sense, because we have to like slow it down in order to keep like the table in front of us. And like, so actually it is a lower frequency, or at least a slower one. So that's why when we come down into it, we're at this like first, like in between lives, we're at this really higher frequency. Maybe we're recovering from our previous Earth experience, processing everything that we had there in a new place. But then when we're out of that for a while, it's like, okay, yeah, I've recovered. Yeah, I'm good. Oh, and then you start like seeing the rosy glasses look and you're like, Earth was pretty cool. I'm going to do Earth again. Yeah, I could do it. And then all of a sudden you get here, you're like, holy shit, this is heavy.
Did I, oh, not again.
Yes. Right. Yeah. But I don't know. Who knows? There's no answer. And then the other thing is, if we all create our realities, how do we know if that's something that maybe it's true? It'll be true. Oh, I'm hearing a really loud, like high pitch. Do you ever happen? That's another thing about frequencies. Like all of a sudden, like you just get like a high pitch.
Ringing in your ears.
Yeah, like ringing in your ears. That just happens.
And it's interesting because sometimes it's both ears, sometimes it's one or the other. Like, yes. And, I think that's so. I mean, I don't know. I've heard a bunch of different theories, but I think it's I think someone's trying to talk to you. That's what I would say.
Well, that's what I've heard too. But then I'm always like, okay, like what? Because I'm in the middle of doing something. Like I was in the middle of talking. It wasn't like I was sitting in my car.
Right, so I can't deal with this right now. Okay.
What is it? Is there something urgent? Well, I've also heard to tune into what you were just talking about or what you were just thinking.
Or maybe it's a confirmation that you're on the right track.
That could be it too. So I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh, that my reality is different from your reality. So if I believe in heaven, right? If I'm a person who's super religious and, believes in the Bible that you die and go into paradise, like that's going to be my reality. Like after I die, I will find paradise and I will stay there until I don't know when, but that's it. But then like other people who are atheist and don't have that belief or have a different belief about life after death will have a different experience because we all create it anyway. So it just makes the most sense. Like there's no really right or wrong. There's ultimate truth, I guess, which is source, which the great mystery is, and no one really gets it. But then like on a regular basis, it's different from person to person.
Yeah, it is. And like, that's, but like there's a name for this and I don't know. And I sometimes have this where it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever gotten this, but I've told my mom this before and she's like, that's something that like 3-year-olds have. That's really big. It's like where you think like, maybe this is all a dream and nobody else is real but you. Or I don't know what, there's some kind of, there's some sort of like actual term for that. But sometimes I wonder about, Dolores Cannon talks about like, there's filler people. I don't know if you've ever heard of that concept, but there's like,
I don't think so.
That it like that basically there's a like large, like there's the people that you interact with who are also like, aspects of the source, like learning itself kind of thing maybe. But then like all the people at the mall or all the people that you will never ever talk to are just like they're just kind of like computer programs. Like they're
kind of reminds me of the Truman Show.
Feel like it's a little bit like to make you feel like you're like insignificant and you're in this thing and this whatever. Like, so I mean, I'm not saying I believe this or not, but it's like a theory that she talks about a lot. Is called you should look it up. It's something about like Dolores Cannon and the filler people, or the like the fake people, or something, but it's essentially that same concept. How like there's not actually 8 billion of us on the planet. Like there's, I don't know what the number is, but it's much less than that. And I don't know if that holds any credence or not. It's kind of weird, but it is interesting to think about sometimes, because I'm always just going like, how is it that, well, I also sort of sometimes think about this, like if you were to snatch me up right now and like put me in a council, and then they were like, you know, a bunch of like aliens from all over the planet. I was like in some sort of like Star Wars or Star Trek thing, and they're like, so do you think that humanity should be allowed in this council? And I would be like, no. No. And that's really, really sad. So I almost feel like sometimes I feel like I'm on a jury for humanity. And like, that's why I don't want to know about the serial killers, and I don't want to know about just like all the really bad stuff, because I'm like going like, you know, you're making it real hard on me to vote in your favor. And I'm not saying like eliminate them, they don't exist, but I am just saying like they're pretty dumb as a whole, like, and we learn very slowly.
Yeah. Well, maybe because our programming is off.
Yeah.
Because I do think the programming thing is a whole nother theory about, I don't know, there's tons of conspiracies
and that's the thing, is like, if we're manipulated at all, that needs to go away, so that we can like really figure out for real if the nature of our particular DNA put together makes us just evil as hell, or if we are like actually a decent thing, or if we really are just parasites. I don't really know, because like and that's the other odd thing. I think everybody justifies everything to themselves. So even if you're bad by somebody's standards, you're probably good by your own standard in your own head.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Yeah.
Like, I think there's very few people that actually think they're jerks, or they're not good people. I think probably most people would think that fundamentally they're good. But then, you know, look at all the wars and crimes and things we have. It's just like, it's okay. I had an incident the other day in the plane. So somebody was coming on the very end, completely full flight, and she needed to put her bag in the overhead bin, and there was no space. And I opened a bin, there's a small backpack in there, and I was like, whose backpack is this? And this guy was like, oh, and I was like, well, anybody? And this guy's like, it's mine. Well, you know. And I was like, will you put it underneath the seat in front of you? And so he did. He puts it in the seat in front of him, and he starts like talking smack, and I don't really know what he's saying because I ignore everybody. And so the lady puts her bag up there, and he makes some snide comment to her, and then she and him start going back and forth at each other. And so in his mind's eye, he's thinking like, hey, I got on early, I put my bag up, and then I wanted my feet space, and then I have to take this because like and then she's just saying like, what, I mean, how hard is it for you to put a backpack underneath your seat and like let somebody not have to check their bag, you know, like you know. And anyway, it was interesting because I was just like sitting back like a fly on the wall, because I wasn't going to get involved, because like I just usually don't if I don't have to. And I was just thinking, it's just so bizarre how everybody is they're so self-centered, and they're so mean to each other, but they're all the victims. Like both of those think they were the victims, and and I'm just going like this is just like, I'm not a kindergarten teacher, and this is just like stuff that adults shouldn't be fighting over.
Right. Yeah. Well, it feels like people feel like they've been disenfranchised, you know, like somebody like that person. I feel like I'm able to see both sides. Like you just explained, like I could see exactly what happened. You explained it really well. And it's like, oh, well, I get it. I mean, I get how they feel, but maybe if they just were listened to, then they would feel better about it and move on. Be like, okay, you've voiced your opinion. Okay, you voiced yours too. We've heard you. Like this, you must have felt like this. Oh yes, like empathy, but at the same time, you're right. Maybe at some point it's like a little too much.
But it's like, is that the nature of us as a being, or are we just, or is it programming? Is it that we aren't taught compassion, we aren't taught empathy, we aren't taught these things? Like, but is our nature, like, if we're not taught anything, just to be kind of self-serving and hateful to each other? Is that the thing? Because it seems like that's the thing.
I don't know, but I think of it as like rats in a cage. I know rats are comparable to humans in so many ways. Like there are a lot of experiments are done on rats, and then like rats are really good to each other when there aren't too many of them, and they share and they help each other or whatever they do, whatever rats do. And humans are the same way. But then now we're like under a lot of stress. There's too many people. There's too many of us, really. I mean, and then like there's road rage and like, well, it's just because there's just too many. And so we're like rats in a cage, like biting each other and stepping on each other and killing each other for our own advantage. But it's only because there's too many.
That makes me think of the Smashing Pumpkins song, "Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage." Yeah, I haven't heard that one in like since the 90s. Whatever that came out, maybe.
Yep, exactly. It was the 90s.
Wow.
I was in high school. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I think that like as human, like if I were to be asked that same question on on the intergalactic council, like should humans be represented, be part of the council? I think I would be like I would have to ask a few questions like, who's going to be supervising us as humans?
Oh, them. Yeah.
Do we have a mentor? If we have a mentor,
but it's like if UN was a real thing that actually worked, and all equal members of all these different nations like had an equal say and like got it, you know, like, and it actually worked like it was like in theory supposed to work, and that existed in a galactic sense. Like, is Earth on its standalone self, is it capable of even like giving you a leader that would be a decent representative of its planet? I don't even think it's capable of doing that. I mean, there are tons of amazing individuals that are just like human bros, like just amazing, being awesome, but like collectively we just don't seem to be very good at organizing and very good at like diplomacy, doesn't seem like.
Yeah, we're not very cooperative, but I think that is because we have a dominant culture that takes that over, that's been taking the rest of the planet over. So if the dominant culture like prevailed as kind and compassionate and more cooperative, then maybe it would be fine. But because we have one that's extremely competitive, very patriarchal, and like violent, then that's what we have to represent, like all of humanity, because it's been like the plague that's been taking over at least the last 9,000 years since like the matriarch died, you know?
Right.
But I think that we're getting that back. So maybe for me, it could be about DNA, but it's also about like the culture of humanity, like what we've been taught and what we value. And I think that we could change. I'd like to say, yes, we can represent humans in space.
I'd like to say yes, but if they put a gun to my head right now, I'd say no. Sorry, not currently. But I would like to get us there. How about that?
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, that's probably why we're still on Earth. You know, there's a lot of us. I don't know. The other day I was talking to a friend, and she was like, she's from Belgium, and she's like, oh, you know, recently in Europe, the kids started going on strike because they are like really upset about the planet, really, and they're like, this is unlivable, what about our future? So they've actually been going on strike and stopping. And I was like, what ages? She's like, all different ages in many different countries, actually. And so I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's great. I mean, I don't see that ever happening in the United States or in Mexico. Maybe, but so I thought that was really positive. I'm like, they care a lot, you know, like this is our younger generation that cares, that wants to change. That's like, hey, I'm an important member of our planet, and this is important to me, and I'm going to fight for it. And so like, that gave me so much positive, like, thought about it. Like, I was like hope. It gave me hope, really. And it was funny because like, before we started that conversation, we were talking about this art exhibit that we had just gone to, and it was called The End of the World. And it was like all of this guy's like drawings and paintings of like scenes from the end of the world, like sketches and stuff. And she was just like, she felt like she could really relate to it. I was like, I could relate to it like in the drawings and stuff, but like, I don't feel like she's like, sometimes I just like keep thinking about the end of the world and the end of the world. And like all this, like people with guns and like forcing people to go to other places. And I think that she's, she has a different experience or a different outlook. So a different experience caused her different outlook. Like, I don't have that same feeling. Like, I'm going in the direction of like, how are we going to transform this? What are we doing like to get into like, to do like eco building, and like, how are we going to make it sustainable to Earth? And so I resonate with something differently. And so maybe through her past experiences, or like her collective past experiences with, maybe her family's been through different wars, or so all this stuff that comes down through the DNA and recurring patterns that now she feels like one way. Like, I feel like, not that I don't have that, we all have that, but like, I don't know, I felt positive. And then when she told me about the kids in Europe that are going on strike, I felt even better. I was like, this is great. I'm so happy to hear that, because they have so much to teach us. We have to teach them, but like, they're teaching us. Like, they're
really
our future.
I mean, I was babysitting today, and my little niece, like I've done like Reiki and stuff on them, and they know that all my nieces and nephews know I'm obsessed with like rocks, and like I have all kinds of like shark teeth and dinosaur bones and like all this stuff all over my room. And so we were walking, and I found this rock. I was like, ooh, look at this rock, Virginia. Isn't it amazing? It looks like it's burnt or something. And she was like, oh, maybe lightning struck it. And I was like, yeah, maybe. Oh, wow, this is amazing. So I'm like holding this rock or whatever. And then, I don't know, like 10 minutes later, we see this tree that had been hit by lightning. And I was like, whoa, look at this, Virginia. And I was like showing her like how the tree, we were walking around it and stuff. And she was like, oh my God, you know what? We should give healing energy into that rock and put the rock inside the tree. And I was like, what? Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, let's do it.
You see?
But yeah, they're just little,
so
they're
inspiring.
just little baby darlings, who just they want good things for the planet too. So, and
Right.
I'm also hopeful of our future. Like I don't think things they don't report on is that we're living in a more prosperous time than we ever, like there's less crime per capita than there ever has been. They're like, they're just like, they said the statistics are really good. It's just that stuff doesn't sell.
Yeah.
Exactly. We are getting better. I mean, like, look, we got to clean up the trash and stuff, but we know it, and we're talking about it, and we're trying to figure it out. And like, I was just at a government meeting where they were like the actual city of Albuquerque was thinking about, in May actually, I don't know, they haven't decided one way or another, but was being presented with a machine that is a factory that churns plastic of all kinds back into crude oil. And they were like totally like going like, all right, let's do the budget, let's see how much it goes. I mean, that's going to happen. Like, that's like, we're going to clean it up. We know that it's not sustainable, and we're on the verge of something happening, and it's going to be positive, because nobody wants to, like, I mean, I was flying with this pilot yesterday who was like a Californian dude, and he was like, he's like, even if you don't buy anything with climate change, and even if you think it's all cycles of the earth, or he's like, all you have to do is just like look at air pollution. Like we can fly into cities and there's like literal little brown caps of crap all over the cities. Like when you're in the air at 40,000 feet and you're looking over a city, like they literally have polluted air. I mean, he's like, nobody wants to breathe this. Something's gonna have to be done about it, and it will, and it is, and it's gonna, and we're acknowledging it. We're figuring out. We're knowing it's gonna happen. It's taking a little more time than we like, but like all these like, did you watch? Did I send you that HQQT like hypnotherapy session of that girl?
I don't think you sent it to me, but you told me about it.
Anyway, there's a lot of people who are doing all these things. It's kind of like they're kind of talking about like solar flashes or all that stuff or whatever. But there's multiple people online that have sort of like been reading a little bit about that, and they kind of talk about how it's like there's a flash of consciousness that hits the earth, and it wakes people up to like almost like if they get a sense of, it's like of kind of like that we're all one, or that like they see themselves as eternal beings instead of like it's almost like they like a lot of people are predicting that there's going to be a flash where you can't 100% be stuck in this like third dimensional like just tower that we're. It's like the way they are explaining it is it's kind of like the grids of manipulation are being stripped currently, and then when that's stripped, there's just going to be a wave of like vision given to people, and then the people will be able to make stuff. I don't know if that's true or not, but like it kind of is a cool theory. And I look like this little thing about like maybe like a community, if we like someday make a community or something, like there's so much things that you could do that are actually affordable that would be like so awesome. And I don't think that you change a system within a system. I think you build a new system and you example what a system should be.
Yeah, that's one example. Right. Yeah, well, we could do that. I'm looking forward to exploring more about like communities. We should have that in our next, or one of our next talks, talking about that.
We should, because we have a ton to talk about with that.
Yeah, and well, like going back to the like not everything is so bad. I think that like whatever we put our focus on is what is our attention is, right? So if our attention is on all the stuff that's bad that's happening in the world, this is all stuff we know, right? That we're just going to see bad stuff. And if we focus on good stuff, we're going to not only see the good stuff, but actually make it grow more. So that I believe is happening too. Like, that's why I'm like, well, I'm just going to put my focus onto something more positive as best as I can in the way that I know how to, consciously more than anything. Even if I make mistakes, even if I fall back to the dark and be like, overwhelmed by it all, but coming back to myself, my center, like my practice, and just being like, okay, well, I'm putting my thoughts, not to ignore everything, but to just put my focus on that which is positive. So that's what we can make grow. I think that that's absolutely true. And yeah, something else about the communities. I don't remember, but I guess these.
Bless you.
Thank you. Yeah, about the positive. I forgot what else.
Positive vibrations, good vibrations.
Exactly. Same with the good vibes. Shoot, I forgot. I don't remember. Anyway, cool. We got lots.
We got some stuff, yeah.
Yeah, we got some stuff.
So goodbye, people. Until next time. And how should we close this? I guess we should close this by saying, if you like, comment, post, do whatever, or thumbs up, make a comment if you want. If you have any questions, you can email us at livingextraordinarypodcast@gmail.com, and we'll totally answer all that and everything. If you have any requests of stuff you want us to talk about, that would also be cool.
Yep, sounds good. We'll see you next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.